6 West Wing officials told the New York Times this week that the president is considering his most far-reaching staff change yet after being dissatisfied with several top aides, specifically naming Spicer as one of them. Let's break this down, ladies and gentlemen. 6 West Wing officials. 6. The leaks here are ridiculous. Where are these people? Telling the Times. I mean, you think about this. If you're a reporter, and I was in this business a long time, if you're a reporter and you got a source in the White House, and then you get it collaborated by 6 people, I mean, how do you even have 6 people that you're talking to? 6. Like, excuse me? That's a big number. Trust me. In our business, 6 officials talking to the same person, that's not a leak. That's a sieve. I mean, that's a floodgate. That's a tsunami. That's a waterfall. That's a pipe break. I mean, that's your toilet overflowed. I mean, 6. The president has reportedly talked about the possibility of Fox News host Kimberly Guilfoyle to serve in that role. Bad idea. Bad idea. You know why? Because people that give opinion and they have the freedom to give their opinion would find that job to be stifling and would be ineffective. If you understand what that job is of press secretary, right? The job is you are giving the side of the president, period. And your opinion doesn't matter. So it's like me. If you want to go on the air for 4 hours a day and give your opinion and give your narrative, then that will be a very difficult role because you have no narrative and you have no opinion. Your job is to advocate and articulate the position of the president on all positions, period. So TV commentator is not a good idea. The best person is somebody that worked in news legitimately and did news, not opinion, not an opinion columnist. They did news. That's the best person for that job. Or a spokesperson for a campaign that's in the communications business who speaks for campaigns. That's what they do. They speak for candidates. But getting a commentator, bad idea. Asking for trouble, that's just my opinion. I'm sure they'll decide to do what they want to do. Other rumors have speculated that Spicer could be replaced by Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I think that would be a great idea if he is indeed replaced. I'm not advocating it. I like Sean. I think he's doing a fine job. But if he decides to leave, she'd probably be a better choice, in my opinion. Now, here's the thing, and I want to get back to these 6 leaks. Brand this in your head. The New York Times said 6 officials in the White House told them, ... Now, why are they even saying 6? They're saying it because they're very proud of the fact that they have penetrated the White House staff and they have a multitude of leakers in there. Trump has got to get to the bottom of this. Now, I thought when Ivanka came there, this nonsense had ended. So far, it's gotten worse. Now, Sean Spicer was reportedly kept in the dark ahead of Trump's decision out of fear his communication staff would leak the news. This also according to the New York Times. I want to flag this for you. This reported in the newspaper Roll Call and the New York Times. Sean Spicer was kept in the dark ahead of Trump's decision on Comey out of fear his communications staff would leak the news, according to the New York Times. Did you absorb that? So that means that those in a senior position in the White House don't trust Spicer's communication staff, all of whom came from the Republican National Committee. Who else came from the Republican National Committee? Reince Priebus. So if they didn't tell Spicer in fear that it would get leaked by his communication staff, who obviously they have lost confidence in, they didn't tell Priebus. And when you're making a decision of this magnitude and you're not telling your chief of staff and your press secretary, they're not long for this world, period. So somebody in there, Jared, Ivanka, somebody has identified the leaks are coming out of Spicer's communication team, which reports to the chief of staff. Spicer and the communications team all came from the Republican National Committee. Now, we're not making this up. This Times report is very damaging to that communications team right now. Because if you want to trace the leaks, here it is. Spicer and his communications team in the West Wing were reportedly told about the decision at the last possible moment. Well, that didn't give them any time to prepare a narrative. Why were they told at the very last possible minute? They didn't trust them. They didn't trust them not to leak it. They're all going. When you're to the point 4 months in your administration, and you can't trust your communications team not to leak something, you got a real problem here. So some people say the president is reportedly considering a quote-unquote huge reboot, another leak, that could include Spicer, Priebus, and Bannon. Steve Bannon, not going to happen. Would cause a firestorm with Trump's base. Spicer, Reince Priebus, great guys. They're not part of the base. Nobody cares. I care because I like him. And Sean's my friend, and I hope he stays because he is doing a pretty good job. But, they brought a lot of people in from the RNC in the communications team that obviously somebody, I'm not making a judgment call, somebody in the White House senior staff doesn't trust them. Maybe it's misguided. I don't know. I'm not there enough. But here's another leak. He's frustrated, someone says about the president, and angry at everyone. Leak. According to an unidentified confidant. Now, who the hell is that? It's another leaker. The advice he's getting is to go big and that he has nothing to lose. Advice from who? No one knows. The White House last week tried to shut down the rumors that Spicer's job is on the chopping block. Here's my question. Who cares? Other than Sean and his family, and Sean will get a different job and make a hell of a lot more money. Guy's very talented. I hope he stays because I think he's doing a good job and he's my friend and I like him a lot. And I think he's getting screwed in this deal. But the bottom line is Sean Spicer is not making policy. Reince Priebus is not making policy. They've simply got to execute the functions of their job, and if they're not doing it satisfactorily, there's going to be a change. But Sean Spicer is not sitting at meetings formulating policy. Steve Bannon is. Spicer's not. During an interview with Judge Jeanine on Fox, the president called Spicer a wonderful human being and a very nice man. On both of those, I would concur. He said, while Spicer's doing a good job, he gets beat up in his daily White House briefing. So look, when things aren't going well, then you make changes, right? Winning solves a lot of stuff. Losing, you get changes. Doesn't matter what you're doing. My son's baseball team, right? 12 and under. They're going to Cooperstown. They're winning games like they did this weekend. My son's hitting 3 homers. Adams is going 5 for 5 with a homer. They get 9 homers. They win games. Pitching is solid. Tweaks, no major changes. You start losing, things shift around, right? My basketball team, winning solves a lot of problems. You start losing, I start making changes. It's what happens. No big deal here. In order to avoid questions about the timeline of Trump's decision, the Washington Post, now they get on the act, reported at one point Spicer spent several minutes hidden in the darkness and among the bushes outside the White House while Huckabee Sanders and advisor Kellyanne Conway made TV appearances. Well, that's because he was on Naval Reserve duty. And by the way, Kellyanne, I don't think she was particularly effective again. Something's gone down with that. She's just not effective right now on TV. They need to just get her off for a while. I love her to death. Great campaign manager. Right now, ineffective. And this happens sometime. Sometimes people just go in a slump or whatever. She's ineffective on TV.